All right, everyone, welcome back to YouTube. And today it is, really I want to talk about how I really think men are struggling today. The point, I think we've been struggling for a while, but the problem we're having today is there's a mixture. There's a mixture of men being lost and then fucked up coaches that are teaching them shit that is keeping them outdated and unevolved. And so when you run that combination of men being lost and then finding fucked up coaches who are pretty much lost themselves, yeah, they might be confident in who they are, but who they are is not aware and developed and progressing in masculinity or helping these men progress. Who they are is stuck in a past outdated version of masculinity that no longer serves society in a way that it also creates a cohesive society. It might just be adversarial and contentious. And so when we look at this and say, okay, there's a big gap here because there are a lot of lost men. Now there's men who are blue collar dudes lost and they don't have somebody to follow, but somebody to follow might come up to them who is just predicated off of what they already know as a man. And it keeps them unevolved, unaware, unprogressing in their life, and it doesn't improve their relationship with themselves or the people around them. And that to me is one of the biggest problems I see today, because the fact that we have supply and we have demand, but we don't have that intermediate portion of this where men are really teaching how to take where you came from, understand that, and then build on that to be improved and evolved. That's really what I see us missing in the coaching space today. And this is really to call out some of those guys out there who are looking for coaches and to say, hey man, it's on you, because those guys are making a business because you are not actually defining what you want to have in life. Now, what you're doing is most of you men are resorting to the comfort of having somebody tell you what you already believe in masculinity, what you already believe to be true about a man. That's what you're doing. You're just following comfort. The uncomfortable part of this is that you got to find somebody who's challenging that perspective and doing it in a way that's making you actually think, fuck, maybe what I've been doing is not the way that men should be today. Maybe what I'm doing now is not consistent with how society has evolved and how relationships have evolved since this version of a man was created in me. That is where, when we challenge ourselves, when we challenge our own perspectives, that's when we find growth. But for all you guys that want to sit here and find somebody who's just fucking painting the same picture, the same narrative you've had for 20, 30, 40 years, well, then you're going to stay in the same relationships that you've had with yourself and with other people. You're going to stay in the same perceptions that you've had. You're not going to grow. You're just going to re-solidify them. And so while you're lost, you're going to stay more lost, but more convicted in your being lost, which is fucked, right? Because at the end of the day, if you're the same person you were today that you are in 5 years, you've done something wrong, in my opinion. Because at that point, you haven't looked outward enough from your experiences or outward enough in the world to see something different, to then change your perspective to be more constructive to your life, more constructive to the people around you, more constructive to the social aspect of your community. You haven't been looking. So if you're that same who I was 5 years ago is not who I am today. 100%. Now, there's certain pieces that still translate, but for the most part, that's not true. So when I look at this, I ask you guys that are looking for coaches, you guys that are following the men's development space, that are following the guys like me putting out content, it's figuring out, hey, which one challenges me and which one resonates with what I feel is inherently and instinctually correct. Right? I don't have to know it's correct. I might even think that it's contradictory to what I believe now, and I probably should. But at the end of the day, when I fully know, like in my body, I feel, oh shit, yeah, that feels actually really good when he says that. Or I've always kind of suspiciously held that belief, but I've never voiced it. That might be a guy you want to follow. That might be a guy that you want to get coached by. That might be the guy to help lead you to development. Now, this isn't always saying to go out and just spend money either. Good men trying to do really good work out there are going to be giving a lot of free content. They should be, because at the end of the day, this is all opinions. This is all taking a subject, synthesizing it, and then pushing it out in our own voice. Now, we have different opinions on the end state of that information, and we can justify our own subjectivity to that information. But realistically, it's all opinion, and it's all opinion. So you need to find a guy that is challenging you, that resonates with you instinctually. I can't say that those other guys are necessarily wrong, but what I can say is it's fucked up if they're trying to keep you in the past. It's fucked up if they're trying to keep you in a version of yourself that does not support the place that you want to be as a man, or how you want to serve your community or your ecosystem. That, to me, is fucked up. But if you're following those guys, they will continue to reel you in. They will continue to give you the bullshit that you already believe. They will continue to feed the ego. They will continue to feed the zone of comfort, and then allow you to come into their ecosystem and capture you in there, where you're spending money to have somebody tell you what you already knew or what you already believed was true. To me, that's waste. To me, that's wasteful for you. I want you to find somebody who can challenge you. And most of the coaching space, there's a lot who are not challenging you. Most of them are taking the low-hanging fruit. They're taking the guys that are 100% like their wives are telling them, I got to be better. You got to do more. You got to start developing. And they're like, I found this coach and he's going to help me develop. If the wife looked into what the coach was saying, she'd be like, this motherfucker's saying the same shit you fucking tell me all the time. How's this guy going to help you do better? He's giving you a community. Okay, cool. Giving you a community of guys who are saying the same shit you already believe. Cool. That's not development, man. That is not development. Development is pushing the fringes of your beliefs. It's pushing the understanding that you have of this world, of how you apply in, or how you link up into it, and how you apply your abilities, mindsets, and beliefs and perceptions to it. That is what having a coach should be. It's challenging. It's helping you to come to some form of understanding of yourself in a way that you've never seen yourself. It's not just being a yes man to your already bad habits or your already inconsistent beliefs. It's telling you that, hey, I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to push you to your own thoughts, and then I'm going to push you to challenge your own thoughts and challenge your perceptions. If you don't have somebody like that, if you're not following people like that, then you're not doing yourself any service. You're just inhibiting your ability to really grow and have that life that you desire. That is where we are at today as men. That's the struggle I see for us men, because the men's space is probably bigger than it's ever been, just simply due to the fact that we have social media. We have YouTube, we have IG and Facebook and all this other bullshit. We have all that, and inherently we're going to be very big compared to what it used to be back in the day, the failed attempt at men's development. But in that, you also have a lot of charlatans. You have a lot of people faking the funk, just trying to make income so they don't have to go into work, right? They don't have to do a skilled job. They just sit and do this kind of shit. And you know what? That isn't saying that they're bad for doing that, but it's asking you, before you step foot into that, evaluate what they're bringing to your fucking life. Don't just do it because you get a community that says yes to all your shit or yes to your shitty ways of thinking. Get a community that challenges you, that's growing, that asks the right questions, that challenges you to find your perceptions and then see where there's flaws. Because everything that we have, if I held on to my old perceptions of who I was, where I created this version of me that I saw as a man, I wouldn't be standing in front of you today. I wouldn't have said half the shit I've said on podcasts and in social media. I would never have done those things. But because I challenged myself, I read books, I followed people, I listened to podcasts, I was growing, I started to challenge my own perceptions and think, well, why did I believe that? Why did I judge those people against what my perspective was? Was my perspective 100% right? No. Well, fuck. Well, maybe I need to have a conversation with myself about that before the next time I say that shit. Or maybe I need to say, hey, what is it in my perspective that I see flawed, and how can I make it a little better to help me be more more of a participant in the world, or more of a better participant in the world? These are the questions I needed to ask myself. These are the conversations I started to have when I was going through this transformation of my own development. And it's not easy. It fucking never is. You're going to lose friends. You're going to gain friends. You're going to fucking find yourself a little lost and confused and angry. And you're also going to find yourself super happy and in joy and excitement because you came to a revelation. But if you're not challenging yourself, then, and you're not bringing in people who are challenging you, then you're not growing. You're just re-solidifying. That's all you're doing. You're calcifying thoughts to then be so hardened that you'll never change. That to me is a detriment to men. That to me is a detriment to society. So if you're watching this and you found yourself supporting those people, or you found yourself in their ecosystems, then challenge that. And if it doesn't serve you for actual growth, then get the fuck out of there. Go find somebody that does challenge you for growth. That is where the power in all this lies, guys. We have a vast sea of social media influencers. We don't have a lot in the men's space, really, to be honest. But the men that are in the men's space, they're also frauds there. So you need to question that. You need to question what they're trying to get from you and what they're trying to condition you to believe. And if it's not to challenge your perceptions and it's just to give you a pat on the back, you may want to think twice about that. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed this. I'll see y'all next week.